Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Greg Andrus. I'm the Vice President of the Democratic Party of Evanston. This is part of our video interview series with all of the municipal candidates for this upcoming election. As some of our longtime members probably remember, we previously had our endorsement meetings over at the Unitarian Church. We got everybody in a big room together. We had 1 or 2 minutes to hear from each of the candidates. They came up on stage. Obviously, we can't do that this year, so we're recording these interviews with everybody to get you a chance to hear from them and hear what their platforms and interests are. So I'm here with Marquise Weatherspoon, who's running for District 65 School Board. So why don't you take a few minutes and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first off, thank you so much for inviting me to this platform. I am a Evanston native. I have 4 students in our Evanston school districts. Currently, I have 2 at Nichols and 1 at Chute and 1 in the District 202. I have come through, I guess I was born and raised in the 5th Ward. Currently, I live in the 2nd Ward. I am a graduate of ETHS, and I currently serve as the president of Advocates for Action for the Leadership Council of Cradle to Career. And pretty much, I'm just an all Evanston girl.
All right, thank you very much. So our first couple of questions, should come as no surprise, are going to be about COVID-19. So District 65 currently has a program in place to provide technological assistance to students who don't have what they need for remote learning. Do you believe that the accommodations thus far have been adequate, or what changes, if any, would you like to see made to that program?
I think their support with the technology has been absolutely amazing. It has allowed students that obviously do not have access to Wi-Fi and, to have access to Wi-Fi and able to connect with their teacher, and able to still get a quality education. I don't see any way to change that. I mean, they did exactly what I would have expected for them to do. They did it very quickly. I can say, and I please forgive me, but I love Mr. Mack over at Chute, and our Wi-Fi went out for a couple days, and he's the best. He came right over with a hotspot, and he's like, "Here you guys go," and we were back up and running. And I know other parents in the district, that have had to have those supports, and they have been provided those, and everything is going well. So hats off to the district for that.
Thank you very much. The next question, as we move into the hybrid format, where some of the students are going to be in person, some of them are staying remote. What steps do you believe the board should take to make sure that students who choose one pathway over the other aren't falling behind, be it the in-person or the remote learning students?
So I was one of the parents that chose to have my students to go back to school whenever it is safe for them to do so. However, there will be others that have chosen for many reasons to not have that happen, and they will stay remote. And I think that if we continue to engage our students, I think if, the ones that decide to stay remote, if they can zoom into their classrooms and see their friends and be able to see their teachers, I think that'll give them a lot of encouragement. So however that needs to happen, and just to monitor, to continue to monitor and give them the supports that they need for the students that are remote, or the students that are in person, because a lot of things are going to change once we get back in the building. And if there are going to be additional supports that are needed, but I have all confidence that the district will come up with a great plan, and that everyone, all the teachers and, everyone will be on board. But that consistent engagement, I think, is going to be the key to the students being productive and comfortable with whatever decision that was made, because obviously children don't make decisions, parents do. I'm sure if the kids would say, they're like, we want to go back to school, but it may not be just that easy. So I think the engagement definitely will be key to the success of our students.
And so as the school year progresses, what criteria do you think should be used when evaluating the current plan and deciding whether or not to make changes to the current plan?
So I think you look at the the people, the students that need it the most, and the district has identified some some flags that will prioritize on who comes back first, given if they chose to come back or not. And I think that the way that they did that, if I remember correctly, they prioritized with the K through 2 first, and then it went to like free and reduced lunch, English as your second language, um, McKinney-Vento, and IEP status. So all of those, I think, encompass a different student and the way that they would support them. Again, I think that it's working, and they, they took into account a lot of things when doing that, and I really appreciate their thoughtfulness in that process. And if we continue to follow that and also follow the Illinois Department of Health, we'll be fine.
And then, so on a specific note, how would you plan to address any potential disparity, especially between those who may be economically or racially disadvantaged, versus those who come from more privileged households?
Well, I think you have to look at the supports that are needed, and be very specific and be very strategic in the way that we would do that. You you look at their households, you look at their current grades, you look at their where their grade level, and then just from with the students, partnership is going to be a key in this. Partnership not only with the parents and the administration, but also the community as well.
And then for the students as they return, or even before they return, what approach should the school have, or what steps should the school take to deal with the students' mental health needs as as they've dealt with spending the entire school year away from their friends?
Whoa. Yeah, because that is a great question. That is what I see the most right now. Like I said, I have students in District 65, and to address their emotional needs, I mean, we do have social workers in the school. We do have some of the teachers have more of a relationship with their students than other teachers do. But to speak to the mental health piece, that is also going to take a partnership. That's going to be evaluating the parents have to get involved at that point. We're not going to know, because they haven't been in school. We're not going to know how they've been. A kid that is normally upbeat and all excited, and then all of a sudden he loses that. We want to know if that happens. We want to know if that happens, and how can we support them? I feel so bad for the athletes at this point, because they're used to, at this time in the season, they would have had so many basketball games and so many football games, but they're not able to do that. So I think that the mental health piece is crucial, that we all have to, we all have to be very careful about how we are dealing with our students, and the partnership, again, with the parents and the administration will definitely play a big role in the kids' mental health, and the kids being able to be open with the people in their schools that they feel most comfortable with, because they know better than we do. I'm sorry. I try to talk to my kids, but they're like, yeah, you don't know anything, I don't feel what they feel. And I try to get on their level, but I don't really know how they're really feeling. So whoever they can reach out to, it takes a village. It definitely takes a village.
So moving questions away from COVID a little bit.
Sure.
Several years ago, District 65 passed a funding referendum. It was actually a referendum that the Democratic Party of Evanston endorsed and campaigned for 4 years ago. I would like to hear your thoughts on the current state of the District 65 budget and current and future priorities. What do you see as the biggest financial crisis faced by the financial challenge faced by the district, and what actions would you like to see the board take to address the projected deficits?
So the structural financial deficit is definitely a challenge for our district at this point. I think that if we find a way to fund better, spend smarter, and prioritize needs over wants, that will certainly help put us in a better financial situation. And the district has many tools for the community to engage in that, because they don't know it all. While we want to believe that they do, they could use some input. So this is where the whole the thought exchange is coming in. They sent out an email, I would say about a week ago, to engage the community on how they can, help with the budget. And the structural financial deficit is definitely a concern. And if we could all just get our heads together and be open, and everyone take a fresh look at this, I think that that would certainly help. The funding piece is kind of hurting the district at this point.
So do you feel that the District 65 budget process is transparent and accessible, both to parents and to the community at large? And what, if any, changes would you like to see made to that process?
So I do believe it is transparent. I don't believe they're hiding anything. They do, and the process is great. When it is up for a budget meeting, they do want to engage the community. That is a part of the process. What I think is a little tough is the information and the way the information is given out. I think the information could be simplified, and I think the information could be concise. That way, excuse me, you're getting to the main points and the meat of what the discussion is for, and not all the legal mumbo jumbo, and kind of weeding through all the other tasks that go on in the budget meetings. But if we can have clear, simplified, and concise information, I think that would help the community to even engage more in the budget process. The transparency is there. The information is there. If you go, the District 65 homepage is an amazing tool. They have everything you're looking for. It's just about reading it and understanding it.
So the next question comes to us from a member who wanted to hear specifically on one budget item, which was a $1.5 million for increased staffing based on program and enrollment needs when enrollment has dropped this year.
Personally, I read it. I can't say that I could be able to speak to how they've done that specifically. I will do further research about that, because I did read that. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Thank you. So here's a question from one of our members who has a student in the District 65 schools. As Democrats, we believe in a commitment to racial justice and equity. What will you do to center students who are a part of historically marginalized communities?
So I think that kind of goes with my whole reason for this, right? So I would like to advocate for the acceptance and equity of all students. And that, to me, that looks like cultivating connections that sustain family stabilities and family well-being. And then also to elevate the access to information to all the District 65 community. So within our Black and Brown community, there are some racial disparities, and I trust me, firsthand, I understand that. And I think how you approach that with an open mind. I'm sorry, I just lost my camera. Hold on a second, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're so live.
Well, we'll cut out this bit for.
Okay. Oh, I'm back. Oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive.
No problem. It happens. It's
Yes.
Zoom. It happens. So do you want me to start from the top of that question, or do you want to pick up where you left off?
Please start from the top of that question.
Okay. So here's a question from one of our members who has a student in the District 65 schools. As Democrats, we believe in a commitment to racial justice and equity. What will you do to center students who are a part of historically marginalized communities?
So, I think that speaks to my whole desire for this race here, and that is to advocate for the acceptance and equity of all students. With that, we can cultivate connections that sustain family stability and well-being, and then elevate the access to all the information within the District 65 community. The racial disparities are heart-wrenching at times, and trust me, I do know firsthand how this has affected our community. What I would say is what I would be willing to do is to just come in with an open mind and know that equity is something that the district is working very hard at. I see their great efforts at what they're doing with the equity piece that they've implemented, and I want to see I want to see where I can fit in there, and be able to bring some personal experience to that, and be able to be the voice at the table for my Black and Brown students.
Thank you. So there's a group of activists here in Evanston who are trying to get District 65 to reopen a school in the 5th Ward. Is that something you'd like to see happen?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I stated before, I was born and raised in the 5th Ward. And that is where my heart lies. And I know personally that living in the 5th Ward and having to go to schools all over Evanston with people that did not have the same, we all kind of have the same issues. They just look different, right? So I think that the children in the 5th Ward, they could benefit from having people that look like them, that understand them, and that this has gone on for generations. And we've come to a place in time where it is now definitely time for our children to see what's better for them and be able to understand, that everyone may not look like you, and everyone may not have the same issues as you do, but you are still valued. And I think by putting a school in the 5th Ward, someone, and not having to bus them all over the place, that would definitely give them more confidence in their education. That would give them more, that would help them to be able to feel more comfortable in their own environment and not have to get out of and have more of a sense of community. And, and Evanston is definitely reminds me a lot of what it means by it takes a village. And that Fifth Ward school will definitely be great for the students in the Fifth Ward.
Thank you. So this next question is one that I ask all of the non-incumbent candidates who are running. Of all of the races to get involved in, of all the ways to sort of throw your hat in the ring for public service, why District 65? Why not any of the other elected positions that are also on the ballot this year?
Oh, well, I don't want to be the mayor. I'll say that. Don't want to be the mayor. But District 65, because that is where I've spent majority of my life, as an adult and as a child. Like when you are in District 65, you're there from K through 8. And now being a mother, I've spent over 11 years in District 65. And I've had some great experiences and some not so great experiences, but I would like to be the one at the table to be able to provide some insight and some tools for people to have better experiences and more equitable experiences within District 65. Not to say that, like I said before, they have put a great equity piece in place, and I'm very confident that with the help of everyone, and that means the school, the community, all together, that we will be able to carry out this mission of a more equitable Evanston. And I just believe that my personal experiences would bring a better sense of reality to the board.
Thank you. So you're running in this race. There are 3 incumbents running for re-election, and I like to ask the challengers, what's one decision of theirs that you agree with?
Not opening the schools. And as crazy as that may sound, because I have children at home, and even unfortunately, I had to quit my job back in October because my children were home from school. But the safety of everyone has been taken into account when they are deciding not to reopen the schools. It's not just about our students. It's about the teachers. It's about the principals. It's about the maintenance staff. It's about everyone. And we do have to recognize that some of these students have to go home to multi-generational homes. And that could mean that they're in the house with their great grandparents that more likely have underlying issues that will cause them to be more susceptible to COVID-19. So I think that the district made a great decision on keeping safety first and not reopening our schools prematurely. And I'm totally on board with that. Even though I would like to see my kids go back. I really need these kids to get out of the house and get back with their friends. But I'm all for the safety, and I believe that is what they had in mind when deciding not to reopen.
Thank you very much. So I have one last question for you, and for anybody who's tuned in, if you have questions, put them in chat, and I'll ask them after we're done here. So the final question I have for you is, now coming in, what's your number one priority?
My number one priority is to advocate for the acceptance and equity of all children.
And what do you believe it would take to make that happen?
It's going to take partnership. It's going to take partnership with our homes, with our community. It's going to take the information being more accessible to everyone. Like I said, the website, it's great. The homepage is wonderful, but people, when you have to read all of that, it gets a little overwhelming. And I would think that I could be a translator at the table for, you know, those that don't have the time to sit and read a 70-page document. And, you know, while all that information is very important, understood, the information is very important, but I think that, you know, us just partnering and being more of our community, looking like the village, definitely is my #1 priority and what I intend to do right away.
Well, thank you very much. So I'm gonna give people a minute or two because we've still got. Whoops. Sorry, I'm going to give people a minute or two to post questions. And oh, we got one here. So the first question from chat is, what do you think are the unique characteristics that you would bring to the school board?
Real life experience. My real life experiences coming from, I guess maybe you know, me being a single mother, having children that have had IEPs, and just me being a real reflection of the entire community of Evanston. We have a lot. We're a melting pot. We are a melting pot, and I just feel like that I have had time to navigate the system myself with challenges, not necessarily coming from the district, but I just mean just in life. I've had challenges of my own and having to navigate the system and our school system. So the real life experience is the most unique thing that I bring to the table at this point.
Thank you very much. So do we have any other questions that people would like to send to me in chat? Okay, so it looks like that'll be all. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Not a problem at all. Before we leave, I did want to say a huge thank you to our board at this time. I know everyone is so there, you know, everyone, the weight of Evanston is on their shoulders, but thank you so much to the staff and the administration for their thoughtfulness and for having our safety at the forefront of their minds. And everyone, thank you, Democratic Party of Evanston.